Hello. Today we're going to talk about progress and sketching and how progress is messy and that is okay. And I want to talk about this because over the last year I have been sketching almost daily. And for me, that's a big deal because I have tried to learn to draw for years now. I am getting old, as my kids will say. But the last year I actually stuck with it. And not everything's beautiful in these sketchbooks, but they are progress, and it's progress I'm happy with. And I love watching sketchbook tours on YouTube. I think they're really inspiring. My sketchbooks do not look like the beautiful aesthetic sketchbooks I think you see a lot on YouTube, which I have no problem with those videos. I love them. I really do. But I also think it's important to see that it's okay if your sketchbooks are messy. They're sketchbooks. For a long time, I was scared to even start on my sketchbooks because I didn't want to mess them up. Can't mess up the sketchbook. When that's exactly what you're supposed to do with a sketchbook. Before we get into the video a little bit, I do want to say that I live in Costa Rica. There will be background noises. I live in the rainforest. Hopefully it won't rain, but you will hear animals. Lots of birds around here. Toucans, parrots, that type of thing. I also live on a goat farm, so sometimes you might hear a goat in the background. I see one coming up my driveway right now. So yeah, just want to warn you, I try to edit some of that noise out, but it doesn't always work. I created courses online for companies like LinkedIn, and even their sound people were like, can you just say that you live in Costa Rica and people will probably hear bird sounds, because we can't get rid of these noises. So just a fair warning, there will be background noises. Sorry. Okay, so let's talk about sketchbooks and show you what I've done over the year. Again, these are sketchy. They're messy, and hopefully though you will see the progress that I've made and the changes I've made, which I'll talk about in other videos in the future. So, all right, let's look here. I'll probably speed some of this up after the fact, but I will talk about some of the different sketches I've done, where I think I've improved, and kind of where I'm hope I go, in the next few years. Right, this is one of the first sketchbooks I really actually filled out. Most of these sketchbooks that I have that I'll be showing just have like maybe a few pages, or they still are half filled. But this one I actually completed. Someone in my family probably brought this one to Costa Rica. No Spanish on this, so I don't think I bought it here. I think this was given to me as a gift. And so yeah, let's look. Like I said, it's messy. When I first started drawing, I took a lot of inspiration just from what I found, what I could find online, and tried to reproduce those. I have 2 pugs, so you'll see a lot of pug drawings throughout here. But these were things just I saw on Pinterest and then tried to draw myself. You'll see a lot of bad anatomy. I had no idea what I was doing, but I kept trying, and that's okay. Just real quick. You'll see a lot of dogs. Most of these initial drawings I just did with pencils or pens that I had lying around. I didn't really invest in a lot of new art stuff because I had stopped and started learning art so much. I just used what I had around. And again here, I think the point is that a lot of this is just very, very sketchy. They're experiments. I was just trying to take the time to draw anything and everything a little every day. All right, these are sketchbooks I was probably doing around the same time as that last one I just showed you. So again, very early sketches. I think at this time I was trying to focus a lot more on character design because again, I have been writing children's books and just thinking through what I might want. So you'll see a lot of snakes, you'll see a lot of frogs and some parrots because different stories that I have these animals. In Costa Rica, we have something called a parrot snake. It's a tiny little snake that is always either very annoyed or looks like it's yelling or smiling a giant toothless smile. Look them up, parrot snakes. They're very cute. And one of the characters in my story is a parrot snake. So I have been drawing lots of those. At some point I got obsessed with drawing raccoons. This was my first attempt. And then I just kept drawing them. Also coatis, which are or cotamundis, which are raccoon monkey things here in Costa Rica that I absolutely love as well. They hang out with the raccoons actually, so I was drawing those too. Okay, this is another early sketchbook. Something you should know about Costa Rica if you ever want to live here or visit and you're an artist. Up in the rainforest where I live, everything gets moldy. So if you invest in nice sketchbooks, like this was gifted to me, it's kind of a leathery feel. It will probably get ruined. So I try actually not to invest in super nice sketchbooks. But this one was gifted to me and I did use it quite a bit. No idea what this is. This was just me trying something real quick, sketching it out really fast. Something you'll see progression-wise is that at this time, because this was still pretty early on, my lines are very hesitant. You can see how scratchy everything is. And over the last year, I think I've really improved this. I actually draw with pen a lot now, primarily, instead of like needing pencil. So my lines have improved a lot. But you know, I was just always sketching something. So these are very sketchy, random, that's okay. If you know what I was trying to attempt here, you might be old, like me. This was going to be Trogdor. If you know that reference, we can be friends. Right, this is when we get into more of mixed media art. I stopped using just pencil or pen and started trying other things. These were just some really cheap pastels that I found here in Costa Rica. They were, you know, just a few dollars. I ended up giving these to my kids eventually, but they were fun to play around with and just quickly do some sketches. This is my daughter's signature. My kids love to end up drawing all over my stuff. I just kind of go with the flow and deal with it as I can. So this is just practicing different facial expressions. All right. Sometimes I like drawing on black paper. I don't know why, but it just kind of messes with my brain in a good way, to switch up the paper colors that I'm doing. These are all just acrylic pins. I'll try to pop up a picture of the ones that I have. They're just cheap acrylic pins that were gifted to me from my mom that she got on Amazon. But I actually really love them. I love them for quick sketches. And then this was just me practicing with some gouache and probably pastels and color pencils. This was a first attempt. I didn't end up liking it, and I redid it with gouache and colored pencils and really loved it. So sometimes you just got to try something and then do it over again. Okay, I don't always sketch in sketchbooks. Sometimes I just, whatever paper I have around to try little experiments with. So we'll go through all of these very quickly. Some of this is when I was first trying watercolor. I hadn't really used it before, and so I was just doing a lot of little experiments. This was the first time I ever used watercolors. There's a lot of things wrong with it, but it was a lot of fun just to draw out and try for the first time. These that I'm showing right now were a Draw This in Your Style challenge that was on Blue Sky, and I just kept trying a bunch of different things because I will be honest, I don't always know my style, so I tried a bunch of things. This is the one I ended up posting on Blue Sky. Very Costa Rican inspired. This one I ended up turning into digital art instead of on here, but I wanted to sketch it out real quick. You've probably seen this little girl pop up a lot. She's one of my characters, so in one of my stories, so I've been trying a bunch of different things for her. All right, now we're gonna actually get into some of the newer stuff that I've done. Like I mentioned, I do a lot of mixed media now. I love these for just experimenting with mixed media. I recently got a lot of water-soluble pastels, some Gansai Tambi watercolors that I really love, and more gouache. And so you'll see those experiments in here. Something I wanted to do when I got the new gouache and the watercolors and pastels was to experiment with backgrounds. I'm not very good at backgrounds, but I love the UPA, I believe it's called, UPA style, the older like cartoons and movies. And so I just found a bunch of backgrounds on Pinterest and tried to recreate those in my different mediums. So this is gouache, pastels, watercolors, and pastels. And these are mainly the pastels. These I absolutely despise. I kept trying. I think I did this one first and then this one. I can't remember now. I was trying something that just did not work out. It was frustrating me for about a week, but I did experiment with a bunch of new mediums that I hadn't really tried much, and so I learned a lot doing these, even though I don't like the outcome. That same week, I went ahead and just quickly sketched out these guys because I actually did love them and they made me happy after I was so frustrated with this. So sometimes you just gotta walk away from what you're doing and create something that you love so that you're not so frustrated. This sketchbook, or it's not technically a sketchbook, it may be a journal. I use it as a sketchbook. My brother-in-law gifted me. It's solid. It could be a weapon. But because he gave this to me, I decided I must put dragons in here. So let's see. These were a lot of gouache experiments. This was the first gouache I ever bought. I tried doing color pencils, but I didn't have the right color pencils at the time. Now I have some that work with gouache, but these did not work well with gouache, and that's okay. Again, experimentation. I have pugs. I was trying something here. And these I sketched out so that I could eventually put them into that sketchbook. And haven't done it yet, but all right, the final ones. These only have like 2 or 3 pictures in them. I think this one has like 2 pictures in them, and this has maybe like 3, so it won't be much longer. This is a really nice Royal Talons sketchbook that I haven't had much time to play in yet, but the first sketch that I did, let's find it, it's this one. This I bought when I first bought my gouache and watercolors. It's a watercolor sketchbook. These are my poor attempts with my initial gouache. These I actually really love. I used ink and watercolor, and we have a lot of hermit crabs in Costa Rica, and I love watching them on the beach. So I created some that were a little bit more realistic, like these guys, except for those giant eyes, and then cartoony ones here. I actually don't know where these were gifted to me as well, and I don't know where the person that gifted them got them. They're kind of cheap as far as like the construction. They are already falling apart, but the paper is really wonderful. I can use paint on them. I can use pastels. I can put lots of layers and it doesn't go through at all, which is really awesome. And this is what I was talking about with, I feel like my lines have gotten more confident. I actually used India ink and a brush for the black on this, and had no trouble just kind of sketching it out with ink without having to use, a lot of pencil or anything beforehand. And then I used watercolors and a little bit of pastels, which have kind of rubbed off here, you can see, but these were just experiments. About a year ago, I had done something similar, and while this is okay, my lines are very scratchy, and I try to make up for that with the way I was hatching, but they were not confident at all, these lines. So. But and then last but not least, a lot more frogs, which you will probably see in a future video. All right, I know that was a lot of sketches, but I think that shows some progress, at least a little, over the last year. and how it's okay to have messy things because, like I said, progress is messy and we should embrace that. We should be okay with that and just keep trying. My perfectionist brain always wanted to give up on drawing because things weren't perfect yet. I was always frustrated that the things that I was drawing didn't look like I would see online, all these beautiful drawings. Why can't I draw like that? And really, it's because I didn't put in the effort. I didn't let myself go through those messy beginner stages that everyone has to go through when they're learning something new. And this time I did. I'm a lot more confident in my drawing already. I have a lot more that I can improve, obviously, but that's okay. It's a journey. I, waited this long to learn. I'm not going to stop just because things aren't exactly where I want them to be yet. I'm going to keep trying to work on it and improve. And I hope you keep coming back to see videos of where I'm sharing new things and improving them. So thank you all.